right. It is May 19th, 2009 at 1041 Mooresville Public Library and the Burke Room. And this is the Mooresville Fire Department oral history number 15 with
Jeffery Baker.
Okay. Tell us how you got started with the fire department.
Well, it's going to be a long story.
That's okay.
When I was in high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career. My dad flew airplanes, and I liked airplanes, so I said, well, I'd like to fly an airline and be a pilot, that type of thing. And we were talking, and he was telling me about all the process to being a pilot. And I said, man, I'm going to be old before I ever get to fly. But going through college and ROTC and that kind of stuff. So we went to church with Chief Pender, Pete Pender. Grew up with his family and all. And I talked to him one day at church. I said, well, what's it like being a fireman? And he said, it's a great job, you know, that type of thing. And I wanted to work outside. I didn't want to be in a mill. You know, that's all we got around here. But I didn't want to work in a mill. I wanted to work outside. And so we got to talk about that. And he said, it's a great job. It's a good sound job. And I said, great, that sounds like something I'd like to do. So from high school, I went to Sartor Tech, which was a 2-year fire science program. Supposedly the best one on the east side of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And it was at that time. Probably one of the only 2-year degree schools at that time. So I started over there, and I got on as a volunteer. And I guess in July of '76, somewhere around, just out of high school. My first live fire was a fire training with LP gas. I went up to the station, got some turnout gear that had holes in it and didn't fit well or anything else. But that was my first set of gear, and we had fire training that night, and that was my first time putting my hands on a fire hose or anything else. And we went up to this big, tremendous fire with the LP gas, and you had your follow pattern going, and the fire was hitting right on the end of the nozzle, just popping. And Captain Bobby Smith was behind me, and we had 2 or 3 other guys going in on it. And I said, man, this is cool, you know, all this stuff. And the fire's right on the other side of that, tremendous fire right on the other side of that water. And I said, this is what I want to do. So, I guess around January or February, they had a fireman that transferred to the police department. And Chief Pender come to me and he said, would you like to be a paid fireman? I said, sure. Yeah, this is what I want to do. So February of '77, that's when I got started on the paid department.
Okay.
So it's a fairly long story, but that's how I got started with it.
Now, how long did you do it?
Counting volunteer time and all, probably a little over 30 years. I retired April the 1st of 2007.
Okay.
So if you count volunteer time, a little over 30 years.
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day. I knew I could remember that. And the Saturday before I retired, they had the big fire downtown. And I had turned in everything that I had, you know, all my gear and everything. And I was sitting at the house and my phone rang. Well, it was the recorded message for all the firefighters to report back to the station. We had a large fire. Of course, I didn't have a pager, didn't have anything. Didn't even have a key to the building anymore because I turned everything in Friday. And so I said, well, I'll write up and just see if there's anything I can do. And so the door was open to the main station. And I walked in, picked up a radio, started listening to what was going on. And called the man, told me I was at the station. If there's anything you need, he said, we need radio batteries and radios. So I walked back and grabbed a whole pile of stuff in my arms and put them in my truck and drove down there and assisted them with that. So that was my last big fire, and I wasn't really on duty. But it was memorable. It was a good thing.
Yeah. What are some other memorable moments?
There's probably a lot. A lot of them are tragedy. You know, and those things kind of stay in your mind.
Yeah.
I know when Cam called me the other day, I said, you know, what am I going to talk about? What's happened? But you know, I can remember my first fire deaths. You know, I can remember all the fire deaths that we've had.
Yeah.
We ran the ambulance service back then too, so that was a big thing with me starting. Here again, one of my first experiences. I was coming to work. Actually, I was supposed to start the next day. I went up there to get my uniforms and that kind of stuff. You know, it was a minute ago, and they had an ambulance call, had a heart attack call. So here I am. They said, jump in. So I jump in the ambulance, and we take off down to the Mill Hill, and there's a man laying down on the floor. And if somebody's doing CPR on him, so we can start trying to do CPR. So we jump in the back of this ambulance, and here I am doing CPR down there, hanging on for dear life. The guy, Captain Phil McLaughlin, was driving, and he was going to the hospital the fastest way he could go. And me and Billy Reed was in the back, and we were flying all over the place trying to do CPR on this gentleman. He was an older gentleman, and we go into the hospital, and the doctor walks in the emergency room, looks at him, and says, "Oh, that's old so-and-so." He said, "He's lived a long time. I think he'll be all right." That was it. I mean, that was my first call. I'm 18 years old, and there's my first death, and okay, this is what I'm going to be doing the rest of my life. Yes. So, it's memorable things like that. It's just stories like that. But there a lot of them are tragedy with children and kids in wrecks and children being burned and that type of stuff. Down in fire. But there's a lot of good times to it too. The camaraderie at the station, getting to know the people that you work with. Yeah. Really getting to know the people that you work with and all their habits. But you become a family. Yeah. You really do. And you spend as much or more time with them than you do your real family. True. With work and everything else, you're at home with your family in the evening hours, 2 or 3 hours, and you go to bed. With those guys, you're there 24 hours. You sleep together, you eat together, you're there together. You have tragedies together, you have good times together, and it is family. And I'll never forget my first shift. The guys that worked with me that helped me out tremendously. Being a kid, and I was, had just turned 19 years old when I started on the paint department. They didn't know how I was going to handle things, and I didn't know how I was going to handle things. Like I say, with the ambulance calls and all, that they were there backing me up as an EMT, just like they were. Right. Ronnie Towle was very instrumental. He was a medic in the Army, and he helped me tremendously dealing with people and their tragedies and how things looked. And, his description was, skin is just like an orange. It has an outer layer, and then there's stuff on the inside. He said, just think of it as that, and you'll be fine. And it helped tremendously to have that type of person that would help you out. Yeah. And I had PRD, and I had Alfred Armstrong, and my captain was Doug Nance. And we had a good time. We did a lot of things together. Ronnie and Alfred, they painted houses, so I learned to paint houses on my days off, and helped Alfred build a building. And PR was really good in carpentry and Doug, so I learned things about that. And we did things at the station, and we did things outside the station. But they were just, they taught me how to cook. We'd cook on it breakfast every Saturday morning. And my first Saturday, I don't know how to cook. My mom always cooked for me. I didn't have to cook. And they said, if you don't learn to cook, you're not going to eat. Okay, y'all show me what I'm supposed to do. We'd have eggs and bacon, grits and all that kind of stuff. So I learned to cook, and they helped me with doing that. And they say there's a lot of things that those guys I wouldn't be able to do without them. Yeah. And they helped me throughout the years and things with how to handle people and different things. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. I'm sure. Yeah. And again, they're a lot like family. And we did have our. We never did have any crosswords, but we had our times. We had a few water fights and buckets of water fights. And the floors would get slick, and we'd usually hit the floor somewhere. I worked on old cars and stuff. It's kind of my pastime of doing things. There was one time I came up there and had my seat was my toolbox. I'd taken the seats out of the car, so I owned the toolbox, and I was going to work on the car after hours at night. So I go down after 5 o'clock to go get my car. My toolbox is gone. I can't find it anywhere, and I'm all upset. I go up to the police department, which was connected to us, and tell them somebody stole my toolbox. And eventually that toolbox showed up. Nobody else around it, but it showed back up. And Then the police chief at that time, Lord Shoemaker, he was wanting to take it, confiscate it for color evidence. No, you're not getting my toolbox. Those guys just laughing as hard as they could laugh, you know. Things like that just made my life at fire department really, really good.
Yeah.
There was no harm to anything. It was just all good fun. And eventually it was paid back, I'm sure.
Let's see.
Truck, did you?
Oh yeah, no, I hadn't.
Favorite truck?
My favorite truck. I would have to say that my favorite truck is the 21 Frames. It's just a beautiful truck. And I like cars, but I was probably one of the last fortunate guys, I guess disfortunate, but when I came on we had the 21 LaFrance, we had a 38 Ford, we had a 51 Ford, but those two weren't really driven a lot, but I got to drive them. Yeah, that was something for me to drive a 38 Ford down the road, great big steering wheel and all. And then we had the Howe, had a 72 Ford, and then the 77 actually came as I did. I drove it around the block when it was just a cab and chassis before they took it, put the fire bed and stuff on there. So, it kind of came and went with me. When I left, it wasn't doing too well. It's finally going into retirement, I understand. But it was a good truck. First automatic truck we had.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like driving a car. There was nothing to it. The Howl that we drove, which was our first truck out, but the shifter was so sloppy and the gears were kind of everywhere and that thing. But I loved to drive it. It was just air steering, so you'd start to steer and then it'd take off. The 72 Ford didn't have power enough to pull a hat off your head. And when you went to second gear, if you didn't hold your fingers back, you smashed your fingers between the dash and the gear shift knob. So you had to learn things about every vehicle. But I would say the 21 is probably my favorite. We tore it down a couple times in my career and refurbished it ourselves, repainted it, done a lot of things ourselves, and then right before I retired, they sent it off to have it refurbished and spent a lot of money on it. But it is a beautiful truck. And in my last day at work, I actually got to take it out and drive it around. That was something good for me. So I'd say that's my favorite truck.
Yeah. It is a beautiful truck.
It is.
It is. Yes, and the gem of the Christmas parade.
It is, and there's not too many of them around. When I was at Rowan Tech, Salisbury had a 22, I think it was, but it didn't run like ours did. So I was kind of envious of what we had. Kind of proud of what we had.
Yeah. Let's see. Biggest fire.
Biggest fire, I guess, was the Western Alta.
Everybody.
There was a couple of them right before I came, or probably 2 or 3 years before I came. There was one that we called Fish House.
Yeah, we've had that.
Yeah.
I think Dean Baker brought that.
Yeah, it was
up.
on Broad Street, I think it was. Well, that burned before I came along. Western Auto, that was kind of a big ordeal for me.
Yeah.
I had just got promoted to inspector, building inspector. So I was up all day inspecting it. We had some type of EMT test or something that night. So I took the test, and I just walked in the door at home. This was about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And the pager went off, and they said, we have a building fire at Main and Moore. And I'm going, Main and Moore. It's all big buildings there. Told my wife, I said, I'll see you sometime. So I got up, and as soon as I left the house, you could see the glow. When I got to the station, there was only one truck left, because they had a few people there because they were taking the test, and so everybody kind of went on the truck at one time. I went down the back street and caught the hydrant at Church and Moore, and pulled up behind it. Everybody else was going down Main Street. I pulled up behind it and started to lock the brake, and it wouldn't lock, so I stuck in the truck. The guy drove with me, he was hooking the hydrant, so I was sitting there in the truck. Couldn't get out because it was going to roll back down the hill. And I think I caught somebody as they was running by and said, there's a block in the back compartment. Put it under my tire so I can get out of here. So I was there that night, and we set up 2.5 in the back, and had a lot of guys volunteered, and everybody else coming and working on that one. So that was probably my biggest one. And I was up until actually, I tripped over the hose. As I was stepping over, somebody picked it up, so I caught my foot, and I fell, bruised my knee, so I'd gone to the hospital, and then came back, and was up with the state investigators all that day. So I finally got to bed probably about 7 o'clock that next night. So that was a long day for me, but I learned a lot of things. That was really my first time working with the state investigators. And that, like I said, I was just starting in inspections, and that triggered my spark for doing investigations and stuff like that. They were really sharp, and they took time to show me things, and we dug through. So that was a big ordeal for me, life-changing for me, to get into a different area, a different aspect of the fire service. But that was probably the biggest. We were there for a while. A lot of people were there for a while.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest fire that we had. We've had other fires, house fires and stuff like that that were pretty good size. That's just the biggest building that I had to deal with. We had there was a big house right beside the library, actually, on the corner over here that caught fire, and we had about 3 trucks at that one. And that was a pretty big ordeal because we didn't have a whole lot of water here. I had actually hooked a hydrant across the street, across the railroad tracks, and then run another hose line down on Church Street, and had both lines hooked to my truck. And we were running everything we could off of that one. So that was a pretty good sized fire. We've had several large fires at Burlington Mills. Nothing major, but just a lot of smoke and white smoke and cotton and stuff. We had a house fire, I think, over on Broad Street during the night, and then as soon as we got through with that, we had a boxcar of cotton on fire. So we just kind of back to back in that aspect of it. So there's just a lot of things like that. But like I say, I think Western Ozark is probably my biggest one that I'd have to deal with.
Let's see. I'm trying to think in order here. We've learned that in the downtime there was a lot of pranks and practical jokes played, and firecrackers under doors. What are some of your more memorable moments of that aspect of?
We were pranking pretty good for a while. Just little things, And there was kind of a battle between PR and Alfred Armstrong. It was kind of a battle who could top the next one, And we had gone to bed, and Alfred had come up there and set his boots down. We had to take our boots upstairs, and he'd set them down. And at that time, our bedroom was upstairs, over the police department. And I can't remember now what it was, but he come up there and opened the door and saw those boots there and picked them up and threw them down the steps. He thought they were PRs. The PR said, "Those were your boots, by the way." And it's just his face just, oh no. That was classic. We thought we were going to die, just roll out of the bed, just laughing at that. He just picked them up and slung them as hard as he could down the steps. We've had a lot of slats, and under the beds, kind of moved just so we didn't get on them, they'd fall out. There's been a few beds moved into the courtroom. We just dismantle them, take them over to the courtroom, put them back together. Guys come up with my bed. We've talked about the water fights a little bit. That would just kind of stem from getting a little wet, washing vehicles, and then all of a sudden here come a bucket, and here come another thing. So the tile floor would get pretty wet, and everybody, their sanctuary was the police department. Whoever could get into the police department the quickest, that's the one that's going to stay dry. And I remember one time the floor was wet, and I come around in front of the ambulance to go try to get into the police department, and slipped and slid down, busted everything I had, So that was kind of course, that was in my younger days too. Probably one of the funniest things we've ever seen, and I don't know if you talked to Jimmy Deaton or not, but I don't know if he told you or whatever was going on, but we got into the model airplane stuff, line control model airplanes. And, I know Joey Baker had a couple of remote control ones, and he was flying it up there and kind of lost control of it, and it crashed in behind the flower building, and we didn't know where it went to or anything else. But Jimmy was up there, and he was flying his airplane out there in the parking lot. Well, there was electrical lines straight overhead going to a street light, and he got just a little high. And his airplane hooked that line, and it started doing this. He just wrapping that line, and he was standing there holding the string, and all of a sudden the airplane cut the string, and the string fell down around his hand, and that airplane just just wrapping that thing up as tight as it could. I was standing in the bay just looking at that and said, "That's the funniest thing I've seen in my life." That's when that string fell. But we ended up having to call Duke Power because the two lines were bare, and they got together, and you could see the heat just coming off of them. Who's going to get up there and cut that airplane off of those two wires? We ended up having to call Duke Power to come get the airplane down. Those are just, to me, those are classic. You couldn't have planned that for anything. It's just one of those times it just got just a little high. I thought I'd laugh myself sick with that one. That's just the everyday things. We got into what you call potato guns or something like that. We'd take oxygen, fill them up with a little bit of lighter fluid in a long tube, and scare people to death as loud as they were, making the booms and shooting stuff across the parking lot. It was almost a rivalry of which shift could make the best. Some of them made them out of tin cans, and that didn't turn out too good. I think we used a PVC pipe or something. It's stuff just to pass the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything destructive or whatever, but some things to pass the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's probably some of my most memorable. I remember. We split. If you were when we had the ambulance, two of you on the ambulance and two of you on fires. I do remember one time that I'd gone to bed early because I went to college, so I had to get up early and go to college. So I went to bed, and they hollered up on the loudspeaker, "Ambulance call." Well, I was on the ambulance that night. Well, I split over, stuck my feet without socks or anything, just split them into my shoes, and they had filled my shoes up with shaving cream. Man, didn't have a call, they just making it up. Yeah, you got an ambulance call. And then it's sitting all downstairs. You can go down there and you can see them just dying laughing, I think one of Alfred Armstrong's last day, we put him in a jail cell and left him. And he didn't like that. I mean, it got pretty loud. "Come get me out of here." It was funny just hearing him down there hollering and everything else. We didn't care. We just have a good time. That's the kind of stuff that that made you family. If they picked at you, you knew you was okay. If you came there and nobody ever done anything to you or said anything to you or picked on you, you just didn't fit in. It's just if you got picked on, then you were fitting in, or they was trying to mold you one way or the other.
What did you like the most about your job?
That's a good question. Because I had 4 different jobs at the fire department. Originally starting out, it was just helping people, I guess.
Yeah.
I love the job. I love the challenge of it. I'm pretty competitive, so fire was my competition, and I wanted to be competitive and put it out.
Right.
It didn't matter how big it was, I was going to put it out. So I was real competitive with that. I liked the camaraderie, the familyness, the closeness of the guys being around all the time. I like challenges, and they challenged me a lot of ways. Sometimes we got confrontational about it in some way, not physically, but there was the battle of words, the battle of what's right and what's wrong, and it would make me go and look it up to make sure I was right. That's kind of one thing. Joe Benson was probably my biggest mentor, and he don't know it, or didn't know it, because we probably had more battles with that than anything else. He was educated. I mean, he had a 2-year degree. He was working on it. I was working on mine, and we didn't work on the same shift. But somewhere or another during training and stuff, he'd have his way of doing it, and I'd have mine. I said, "You're wrong." "No, you're wrong." Yeah, and we battled one another, but it made me stronger because of that. Because I had to go look at it. I had to make sure, which one of us was right. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. As a firefighter, you're learning and you're taking care of people and you're doing things like that. There were some ambulance calls that I didn't really particularly care to go on, and I was kind of voiceful on that. The nosebleeds, the taxi rides, those type of things. And when I'm dead asleep and you call me for a taxi ride, that annoyed me. But the other things were okay. As an inspector, I enjoyed going into the buildings, meeting the people in town. I had to go into every business that there wasn't. It was only me doing inspections. So I got to know, like I say, the people of the town. And, we'd ride, me and my daughter would be riding around, and I'd be waving at people. She said, everybody in town is pretty close. Pretty close. Can't do that now. You can't say that now. You could back then. But, you learn the history of the buildings, how they were built, and I like doing that kind of thing. You learn the people, and you knew that they were there for a long time. Like Erskine Smith's daddy run the armory store, and I'd never been in there as a kid or anything, but to go in there and finally look around, hey, you got some neat stuff in here, So that was interesting. And I like that part about the inspector's part of the job. Being able to investigate the fires and find out how they started and that type of thing was a good part of it. As a captain, being promoted to captain, it was helping my guys, helping us to be a team, helping us work together, trying to make the place better. I was able to go to a lot of schools. Back then we had a rule that you couldn't go to one school a year, budget-wise and that type of thing. So when the schools would come around, I'd already been to one, they'd come around, I'd go around, "You want to go? You want to go?" Nobody wanted to go to school, so I'd go to Chief Benner. "Nobody else wants to go. Can I go again?" So I learned things, and I tried to bring those back to help the department, help things out. And I don't want to boast, but there's a lot of things that we made changes because of going to schools and finding out what's going on in the world in North Carolina throughout the state with other people. And so we were able to change things, change the way we do firefighting, change the way we do things at stations. So that was good for me as a captain to be able to help other people and to help my ship. As assistant chief, which that job changed over the years. I was an assistant chief training officer, first paid one that we had. Brand new job that we never had it before, so it was a challenge for me to put something together to try to get us to work better together. We were 2 stations at that time. That was a new thing for us. But putting all that together to help the department work out and helping with everybody's problems. You saw everybody. As a shift captain, you only saw your 5 people, or maybe 10, if you had a call. But as assistant chief, I saw them all. And every day was a different challenge. Every day was a different problem. Every station you went to, there was another problem. So I enjoyed trying to be the problem solver, trying to help whatever needs they had, try to fix it some way or another. Probably what some of them I couldn't fix, but we did our best. There had to be a solution to something, and we tried to find that. So to me, and I kind of got away from the public with that, and focused more on our people. What can I do to help our people serve the public better by their challenges, or what they had, and what issues they might have that we can fix. And a lot of times the guys had issues that they knew how to fix. All I had to do was listen. Okay, you got a problem, how are we going to fix it? Well, I think we can do it this way. Sounds good to me. It wasn't me that come up with all the answers. I'm not the smartest man in the world, so I didn't have all the answers, but they did.
Yeah.
They had some kind of answer because they thought about it. There's a problem, here's I think we can solve it. So I was a go-between between the chief administration and the town rules and the guys. And my challenge was to make everything work smooth. And I hope I did a good job. I hope I satisfied people as that. But that was a good thing for me.
Do it all over again?
Yeah, I would. It's best job in the world. And I love what I do now as retired. I don't have a whole lot of stress in my job. But yeah, I do it again. I remember talking with Cam when he was going to interview for Salisbury Fire Department. He came up and said, "I need you to ask me some questions." And he said, "How am I supposed to answer that?" And answer it truthfully. Answer what. Don't think about what they're trying to hear, or what you think they want to hear. You answer it truthfully. Watch what your heart telling you. And he's still here, and he's a captain, which he should be a little higher than that right now, but he didn't want to be. But he's a good man, and I hope I helped him with some things.
Oh, he did.
But that was, I do it again. And I try to, when I teach fire classes to a lot of young guys, I say, don't give up on it. That's what you want to do. It's a good job. It's not the best paying job in the world, but it's a good job. It's steady. It's not something that you're going to get laid off of. Or the mill's going to shut down. The town is still going to have a fire department. You're going to have some public servants. And it's a great job. And yes, I'd do it again. And I hope they will. And, there's a lot of chiefs kind of look at the young people and say, he's just a kid. He don't know anything. I say, well, look at me. You gave me a chance. You see where I've come. They may do the same thing. They may be better than I am. Give them a chance. There's some smart kids out there. There's some that want to be a fireman just to get a red light and, on their dash so they can run real fast. And I tell them, that's not what the job is. There's a lot more to it. But it's challenging. It's an adrenaline rush. It's athletic. It's something that you can incorporate all the fun and games into and still have a good life. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It can be. And it's busy and there's training, but you got to make all that fun, because you're there 24 hours. And I look at the guys nowadays. There's a lot of them work part time at other fire departments, so they're there every day. And if it wasn't fun, they wouldn't be there. So it's a good fun job, and there's a lot of challenges. You learn things. You learn things that you can take with you through life. Knot tying. Bobby Compton can't tie his shoes, but he should be able to tie a knot. But knot tying, you're going to learn that, and you're going to use it somewhere. I work on a farm now, and we, anytime we need something tied up, Jeff, come tie this. So I go tie the knots and stuff. So it is a learning experience. It's not all dreadfulness. There are tragedies. But there's a lot more good times to it. You may save somebody out of a car. We had a train wreck. A car hit a train, and our train hit a car. Drug it down 150 yards, and it hit right the driver door. The young girl was driving it. We got her out, and helicoptered her out, and everything else. I was in line giving blood a couple years later, and this girl sat down beside me, and she said, "You remember me?" I said, "No, I don't know if I've ever seen you." She said, "I was in the car with that train wreck." "Great." She said, "I'm doing fine. Been in the hospital, broke the hip and all those other. Been in the hospital for a while, but I'm doing fine." So, well, that's great to hear. She remembered me. I didn't remember them. And a lot of that's been, I see faces and people come up and talk to me, and I know the faces can't place where. But you touch so many people that they remember those things.
Okay, what would you, when the fire department looks back at this 100 years from now, again, what do you want them to remember or to know or to understand that made the Mooresville Fire Department the Mooresville Fire Department, and that you hope they held on to? And
I would think the sense of community. I know when the department was founded, it was just town folks, and they were doing their best because there were a lot of fires that everything called fire burned down. So they wanted to do something to try to save property, try to save their livelihood, those type of things. And I think in my 30 years, I know we're looking at 100 years now, and I've got a third of it. So it's history, but it's not to me. It's you know, it was my life.
Yeah.
But it was a community, helping the community, serving the community. The fire department was a giving department. You know, there's a lot of things that we did for people, whether it was money wise or going out and helping people. The burn can fund. I mean, we've gone through a lot of money through that burn can fund, and that was started either at the end of Chief Pender's era or first of Doug Nance's. So we've been doing that 20, maybe 15, 20 years or more. And I kept the record book on that for a long time, so I know how much money was generated by. It wasn't us generating money; it was community bringing the cans in, putting the cans in, and we generated money, gave it to the burn fund or whoever had needs. That money is used for educating children on fire needs and stuff like that. So you know, the community and the involvement is what I want to remember. Nowadays, you know, in my last few years, we were starting to hire people from out of state, out of town, from different departments and stuff like that. So it was kind of getting away from the good old boy community thing. But once they get here, I think that they know that we're community oriented. You know, that we are still a small town, even though we've grown a lot. But we're still a small town, and we still want to do things in a small town way. I think that legacy needs to go on. It's kind of like the 21 of France. I mean, that was the first new motorized vehicle that we bought, and we still have it. Some of the guys probably don't realize the history that's there. They don't realize where that truck went to on calls and stuff, but it needs to be. And the orientation and stuff, they need to go look at that truck. They need to say, this is where we came from. This is what we are, and it's still here, so we're still here. It has improved itself. It's gotten itself better, and we need to do the same in the fire department. And I think in the next 100 years, it's going to be a little different, but I think it's going to be the same. And I know that's a bad statement, but it is. And I can compare an old truck to a new truck with what we have. If you look at the 21 in France, it's got ladders, axes, hose on it. Our new trucks has ladders, tracks, axes, and hose. So it is the same, but it's different. That's my comparison. Things are better, but we're still fighting fire. We're still helping the community. We're still doing those type of things, and I think that is part of the fire service. I've always told you, if the trucks never roll out of the station, then we've done our job with fire prevention, those type of things, community education. It's not the trucks rolling out of that building all the time. It's what you do when the trucks are in house. That's going to make it. And I really do. I think the fire department will do that. I've always said our guys, I'd compare our guys to anywhere in the country. Fighting fire or anything else, I'd put them up against them. I knew our guys. I knew what they could do. When you look at New York City, I mean, they do the same thing. They put out fires. I've been able to know a few New York City firemen, and we talk about the same thing. How the fire was put out. So it's not a variety of things that goes on in the fire service. It's all the same, but there's history there. There's things that go on in your own department that make you unique. And that's the things that I want to see continue on. Don't make yourself better than anybody else, but make yourself equal to them and continue to grow.
Well, like we learned, and I'd forgotten about it, but the time the 21 La France pumped water for, what was it, a week straight for the town?
Yeah. And that was before my time, too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's something that, like you were saying, the sense of community, that it wasn't putting out a fire, it was doing a service for the whole.
We filled the pond, the lake up at the golf course.
And
that was duties that, you knew that your days go to the golf course every day for 8 hours. We sat out there and listened to that truck run. And we knew it was going to happen. You knew it was your day. But you learned about that truck. You knew exactly how it sounded. It was a learning experience. It's just a community thing. I know the guys now do with the car show. They're involved with that, with all the downtown festival stuff. They're involved in that. And that's great for those firemen to see the people in the town. for them to get to know one another. You know, say when I was inspecting, I knew them, and if something happened, I could relate to them, and that made a really good sense of community. They may not feel like it. They may say that's a stupid job, and coming out here walking around during the day. But there is a good points to it, and you got to know your community.
Yeah.
You really do.
I do. Yeah. Anything? I think we've covered it.
I think we covered about everything.
Anything else? Anything else you?
Well, there's probably a lot of things. But I know you don't have time, but there's just there's some guys that really excuse me on this.
Yeah.
Meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Well, they have retired. Some of them are still there. Meant a lot to me, and I hope I've meant something to them. And
Yeah.
I didn't have a legacy in the fire department. My family didn't come through the fire department, and my family, I don't have any daughters or sons that want to be a fireman, so I'm kind of a one-generational thing. Though I had some cousins, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm flash in the pan, one of those type of terms. But those guys meant a lot to me, and still do. I hope what things I have brought to the fire department has helped. I know we got started with a physical fitness program, and that's still going on. And just some little things like just trying to put things together.
Yeah.
Again, helping our guys out.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I never did, and don't want to think that I was above anybody else or better than anybody else. But whatever we did as a group.
Yeah.
We tried to better the department as a group. I was just fortunate enough to be able to go to classes, be able to go to school, be able to learn and go to different places and bring that stuff back. I didn't go and keep it. I wanted to bring it back to you guys. But like I say, 30 years, and that was part of my life. But as a kid, that was my beginning. I got married, had children. Used to know everybody else's kids' names and still see them nowadays. Don't hardly know who's who anymore. But I do keep up with it. I've been out of it 2 years, and I still keep up with the guys. Still talk to them. It's not that I really want to come and fight their fires or anything, but I want to know what's going on, what they're doing. And again, I've got some guys here that work for me that I've seen come up through the ranks. Cam's one, Kurt Deaton. These guys are young and they're smart. Hope I helped them out in some way or another. But they were good to me. They made my life easy as a captain. Challenges again, but
Except when we bothered Chuck all the time.
well, Chuck was a good. I mean, he's still a good firefighter, and he was a challenge. But we were able to overcome a lot of things and make things a lot better. Just like I say, those type of things is what has really helped me and made my life in the fire service for 30 years or a little better a great thing. I mean, I really love it. I don't know that I can stress to people just how much I did love it. I'm glad to be out of it in the source. I still volunteer a little bit with South Ireland, try to help them out because that's my community.
Yeah.
But my stress level has dropped tremendously. My first good night of sleep was when I walked away, because there were just so many different people that had problems that I needed to handle, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and say, I can do this, and I'd get up and write it down so I wouldn't forget it. So, again, that was my family, my life, and I'd do it again. If I was a young man, I'd jump in it in a heartbeat.